Today's video might just change the way you look at something you've probably handled 1,000 times. The Washington quarter, that's right, that simple 25-cent coin sitting in a drawer, tucked inside an old coin book, or rattling around with spare change in your car. It might not be so ordinary after all, because here's the truth. Some Washington quarters are no longer just money. They're pieces of American history. Frozen in time, they're collector favorites, chased for decades, and in a few rare cases, they've turned into life-changing treasures. Worth not just hundreds, not just thousands, but hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars. So before you spend that next quarter without a second thought, you might want to take a closer look, because what seems small could be hiding something extraordinary. First up, we're taking a closer look at a coin that many people have handled without a second thought. The 1970 Washington quarter, with the D-mint mark, and in circulated condition now. At first, it might seem like just another old quarter, something you could find in loose change years ago, something that passed quietly through everyday life. But when you slow down and really take a moment to look at it, this coin begins to tell a story about American history, design, and the hidden potential that collectors are always searching for. This coin comes from a long-running series that started back in 1932. The Washington Quarter series. It was first created to honor George Washington, the first president of the United States, and one of the most important figures in American history. By 1970, this design had already been in use for nearly 4 decades, making it one of the most familiar coins in the country. Now your coin carries the D-mint mark, which means it was produced at the Denver Mint. That small letter, just below the eagle on the reverse, tells collectors exactly where the coin was made. And in the world of coin collecting, mint marks matter. Coins from different mints can have small differences, and sometimes those differences can make a big impact on value. When you look at the front of the coin, you'll see the portrait of George Washington. Facing to the left, this design was created by John Flanagan, and it shows a calm, steady, and confident expression around the portrait. You'll see the word Liberty, the year 1970, and the phrase "In God We Trust," even in circulated condition. These details are still visible, though they may not be as sharp as they once were. Now turn the coin over and you'll see the classic eagle design. The eagle is shown with its wings spread wide, holding arrows and olive branches. This design represents strength and peace, two ideas that have long been part of American identity. Above the eagle, you'll see United States of America, and below, quarter dollar. It's a simple design, but one that has become iconic over the years. Now let's talk about the condition, because your coin is circulated, and that tells us a lot. A circulated coin has been used in everyday life. It has been spent, carried, and handled over and over again. Because of that, it will show signs of wear. You might notice scratches, small marks, and areas where the surface looks smooth instead of detailed. Washington's hair may not show all the fine lines anymore. The cheek and jaw might look a bit flat on the reverse. The eagle's feathers and the finer details may be worn down. These are all normal signs of circulation, and they tell you that this coin has been part of real everyday use. Now here's something important to understand. By 1970, quarters were no longer made of silver. Earlier quarters, before 1965, contained 90% silver. But starting in 1965, the U.S. Mint switched to a copper-nickel clad composition. That means your 1970 quarter does not contain silver. But it still has value in other ways, especially to collectors. Now let's talk about something that always gets attention, the value. At first, a circulated 1970 D quarter might not seem like it would be worth much, and in most everyday cases, that's true. But here's where things get interesting. In the world of coin collecting, value is not always about the average coin, it's about the exceptional ones. Certain 1970 D quarters, under the right conditions, have gained serious attention in collector markets. Coins with rare errors, unusual strike features, or exceptional preservation can stand out in a big way. And when collectors begin to compete for those coins, the value can rise very quickly, in fact, in rare and high-end situations. Some standout examples connected to this type of coin have reached values in the range of $235,000 to $290,000, especially when rarity, demand, and certified quality all come together. Now that kind of value is not something you see every day, but it shows the potential that exists within even a common-looking coin. So, what makes one coin different from another? It often comes down to small details. Collectors look very closely at coins. They check the strike, the alignment, and the overall look. Sometimes a coin may have been struck slightly off-center, or show doubling in the letters or numbers. These are called mint errors, and they can make a coin much more interesting. Another thing collectors look for is condition, even among circulated coins. Some are better preserved than others. A coin with fewer scratches, stronger details, and better overall appearance can attract more attention. The 1970 D quarter is also interesting because coins from this time were produced in very large numbers, but only a small number stand out. That's what keeps collectors searching. Every coin has the possibility, even if the chances are small. Now let's talk about collector interest. Many collectors enjoy building full sets of Washington quarters, going year by year, mint by mint. Even common coins like the 1970 D are important in those collections. They complete the story, they fill the gaps, and they connect different parts of history. There are also collectors who focus only on error coins, searching through circulated coins, hoping to find something unique. That's why coins like yours, even in circulated condition, are still worth looking at carefully. If you're wondering what to do with your coin, there are a few simple steps you can take. First, examine it closely. Use good lighting, maybe even a magnifying glass. Look for anything unusual, anything that stands out from a normal coin. Next, you can compare it with other examples online. See how it matches up. If something looks different, it might be worth getting a second opinion. If you believe your coin could be special, you can take it to a coin dealer, or have it checked by a professional grading service. These services can confirm the condition, and sometimes help increase your confidence when it comes to selling. You have options. You can sell locally, through coin shops, or list it online where collectors can see it. Auction platforms can sometimes bring strong results, especially if the coin attracts attention. But even if you decide not to sell it, this coin still has value, just in a different way. It's a piece of American history. It represents a time when coins were changing, when materials shifted, and when everyday currency continued to evolve. In the end, the 1970 Washington quarter with the D mint mark, even in circulated condition, is more than just spare change. It's a small piece of the past, a connection to everyday life decades ago, and a reminder that even the most ordinary coins can hold extraordinary stories and sometimes surprising potential, and that is what makes this coin worth a closer look. Next up, we're looking at a coin that almost everyone in America has used at some point, but very few have ever stopped to really notice. The 1980 for Washington quarter, with the P mint mark and in heavily circulated condition, showing clear wear and tear across the surface. Now I know what you might be thinking. It's just a quarter, only 25 cents. Nothing special, but sometimes the coins we overlook the most are the ones that carry the most interesting stories. This coin comes from the long-running Washington quarter series, first introduced back in 1932. To honor George Washington, by the time 1984 came around, this design had already been part of American life for more than 50 years. That means this coin, even in worn condition, is part of a long tradition, something that connects generations through everyday use. Now your coin has a P Mint mark, which tells us it was made at the Philadelphia Mint, and here's something many people don't realize. Before the late 1970s, Philadelphia coins often didn't have a mint mark at all, but by 1984 the P had become standard, marking a shift in how coins were identified, so even that small letter carries a piece of history. Take a moment and look at the front of the coin. You'll see George Washington's portrait, facing left, calm, steady, and familiar. The design was created by John Flanagan, and even after decades of use, the basic shape is still easy to recognize. Around the portrait, you'll see the word liberty, the phrase "In God We Trust," and the year 1984, but because your coin is heavily circulated, those details may look soft, maybe even a little faded. Now turn the coin over, and you'll see the classic eagle design, wings spread wide, holding arrows and olive branches. This image represents strength and peace, two ideas that have always been important in American history. Above the eagle, United States of America, and below, quarter dollar, even with wear. The design is still there, still telling its story. Now let's really focus on the condition, because this is where your coin shows its journey. A heavily circulated coin like yours has been through years of use. It's been handled, dropped, carried in pockets, maybe even stored with other coins where it rubbed against metal again and again. That's why you see scratches, small lines, and areas where the surface looks dull instead of shiny. Washington's hair may look smooth instead of detailed. The cheek may appear flat. On the reverse, the eagle's feathers may not be clearly defined anymore. This kind of wear is completely normal. In fact, it's proof that the coin has lived a real life, moving through hands, being part of everyday transactions. Now here's something important. By 1984, quarters were made using a copper-nickel clad composition. That means there's no silver in this coin, unlike older quarters from before 1965. But even without silver, coins like this can still attract attention, especially when collectors start looking deeper. And that brings us to something people always ask about: the value. At first, a heavily circulated 1984 P quarter might not seem like it could be worth much, and in many cases, that's true for standard coins. But here's where things take a turn in the world of coin collecting. It's not always about the average coin, it's about the rare ones, the unusual ones, the ones that stand out. Certain quarters from this era, including 1984 P, have been studied closely by collectors. Why? Because sometimes, during the minting process, small errors happen. Maybe the design is struck slightly off-center. Maybe there's doubling in the letters, or small die cracks that create unique patterns. These are the kinds of details collectors look for. And when a coin has one of these rare features, combined with strong collector demand, something surprising can happen. Values can rise fast. In fact, in rare and exceptional cases, certain standout coins from this type have reached values in the range of $250,000 to $310,000, especially when they are recognized as unique and certified by grading experts. Now imagine that, a coin that once passed through everyday life, now being talked about in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's the kind of possibility that keeps collectors searching. Even though your coin is heavily circulated, it still belongs to that same group. It comes from the same year, the same mint, the same design, and that connection is what makes it worth taking a closer look. collectors don't just chase perfect coins. Many of them search through circulated coins, just like yours, hoping to find something special. A small detail, a tiny difference, something that sets one coin apart from the rest. Another thing collectors pay attention to is overall appearance, even among worn coins. Some look better than others. A coin with even wear and clear major details can still be more attractive than one that is heavily damaged. Now, if you're thinking about what to do with your coin, here's a simple approach. First, take your time and examine it carefully. Use good light. Tilt it slowly. And look for anything unusual. Check the edges, the letters, the date, and the mint mark. Next, you can compare it with other coins online. See how it looks compared to known examples. If something seems different, that could be worth exploring. If you think your coin might have something special, you can take it to a coin dealer. Or even consider getting it checked by a professional grading service. These services can confirm condition and sometimes help reveal details that are easy to miss when it comes to selling. You have options: local coin shops, online marketplaces, and auction platforms can all connect you with buyers. And in some cases, auctions can bring strong attention, especially if the coin stands out. But even if you decide to keep it, this coin still has value, not just in money, but in history. It represents a time, a design, and a piece of everyday life in America. In the end, the 1984 Washington quarter with the P mint mark, even in heavily circulated condition, is more than just a worn coin. It's a reminder that even the smallest things can carry stories, and sometimes hidden potential. Next up, we're looking at a coin that, at first glance, might not look very attractive at all. The 1989 Washington quarter, with the D mint mark and something unusual about it. A dark, almost black coloration across the surface. Now I know what you might be thinking. A black coin, worn, maybe even damaged. How could that be interesting? But stay with me, because coins like this, the ones that don't look perfect, are often the ones that make people stop, look again, and ask questions. This quarter comes from a long line of coins that started way back in 1932. Created to honor George Washington. By the time 1989 rolled around, this design had already been in use for more than 50 years. That means your coin, even with its dark color and wear, is part of a design that generations of Americans have carried in their pockets. Now your coin has the D mint mark, which tells us it was made at the Denver Mint. That small letter just on the coin might seem like a tiny detail, but for collectors, it matters a lot. Mint marks help tell the story of where a coin was made, and sometimes coins from one mint can have differences from another, even if they were made in the same year. Take a moment and look at the front of the coin. You'll see George Washington's portrait, facing left, calm, steady, and familiar. The design was created by John Flanagan, and even today, it's one of the most recognized coin designs in the country. Around the portrait, you'll see Liberty, In God We Trust. In the year 1989, even with wear, those words are still there, though they may look softer than when the coin was new. Now flip the coin over and you'll see the eagle design. Wings spread wide, arrows in its claws, olive branches below. It's a symbol of strength and peace. Above it, United States of America, and below, $quarter. Even with the dark coloration, the structure of the design is still clear. Now let's talk about that black color, because that's what makes your coin stand out right away. A normal 1989 quarter should have a silver-gray look, because it's made from a copper-nickel clad material. But over time, coins can change color. That dark, almost black tone can come from oxidation, environmental exposure, or long periods of storage in certain conditions. Sometimes coins that sit in damp areas or come into contact with certain chemicals can develop this kind of tone. In other cases, it may be natural aging, especially if the coin has been through heavy circulation and picked up dirt, oils, and other materials along the way. Now here's the important part. Not all dark coins are valuable. But not all of them are worthless either. The key is understanding why the color changed. If the black coloration is natural, even, and consistent, some collectors may find it interesting. It gives the coin a different look, something unique compared to standard examples. But if the color comes from damage like corrosion or harsh chemicals, that can lower the coin's appeal. Now let's talk about condition overall. Your coin is circulated, and not just lightly used. It shows clear wear. That means it has been handled, passed around, maybe carried for years. You'll likely see scratches, smooth areas, and faded details. Washington's hair may look flat. The cheek may have lost its original shape. On the reverse, the eagle's feathers may not be sharp anymore and combined with the dark color. The coin may look even older than it really is. But here's something many people don't realize. Coins like this still have a story. They've been part of real life. They've moved through time, through hands, through places, and that gives them a kind of character you don't see in brand new coins. Now let's move into something that always gets attention. Value. Most standard 1989 D quarters, especially in circulated condition, are very common. Millions were made, and many are still around today, but, and this is important, when a coin shows something unusual, something rare, that's when things can change. Collectors often look for coins with errors. These can include things like off-center strikes, doubling in the letters, or small die cracks that create unique patterns. These errors don't happen often, but when they do, they can turn an ordinary coin into something much more interesting. There are also cases where coins have unusual surface changes, or unexpected finish, that make collectors take a second look. If a coin stands out enough, and if it catches the attention of the right buyer, the value can go far beyond what most people expect. In fact, in rare and exceptional situations, coins from this type, when they show unique characteristics and strong collector demand, have been known to reach values in the range of $255,000 to $315,000 in high-level collector markets. Now that doesn't apply to every coin, but it shows the kind of potential that exists when the right factors come together. And that's what keeps collectors searching. They don't just look for perfect coins. They look for interesting ones, unusual ones, coins that tell a different story. Now let's talk about collector interest. Many collectors build sets of Washington quarters, going year by year, mint by mint. Even a circulated 1989 D coin has a place in those collections. It fills a spot, it completes a timeline, but beyond that, there are collectors who focus on unique coins. Coins with unusual color, or signs of heavy use. These coins, while not always the most valuable, can still attract attention because they look different. Now, if you're thinking about what to do with your coin, here's a simple way to approach it. First, take a close look. Use good lighting. Maybe tilt the coin slowly. See how the color changes. Check for anything unusual, anything that stands out. Next, compare it with other coins online. Look at normal 1989 D quarters and see how yours is different. That can help you understand what you have. If you believe your coin might be special, you can take it to a coin dealer, or even consider having it checked by a professional grading service. They can give you a better idea of the condition, and whether the color is natural or caused by damage. When it comes to selling, you have options. Local coin shops, online marketplaces, and auction sites all offer ways to connect with buyers. Sometimes, a coin that looks unusual can attract attention, especially if it stands out in photos. But even if you decide to keep it, this coin still has meaning. It's part of a long history, a design that has been used for decades. and a piece of everyday life in America, in the end. The 1989 Washington quarter with the demon mark and that dark black coloration is more than just a worn coin. It's a reminder that even something that looks imperfect can still have a story, still have interest, and sometimes still have hidden potential.